Tonight, SAPOL's Assistant Commissioner meets with concerned Port Lincoln residents, and Port Pirie Cemetery targeted by heartless vandals.
With the latest from around the region, your nightly news with John Hunt begins now.
Good evening. The Assistant Commissioner for South Australia's Police has visited Port Lincoln following community concerns over increased violence. More than a dozen locals attended the public forum.
Up in arms around the recent spate of violence across town, more than 30 residents attended a community forum last night demanding answers from police.
Why things aren't getting done, why they're not, catching up with them.
The meeting was set up by authorities in response to community frustration of violent behaviour, with shocking vision of street brawls and attacks at a local fast food restaurant last month making national headlines.
We wanted to come to the community to explain how we work, how we operate, but also explain how all of the community can take a part in crime prevention.
The Assistant Commissioner for South Australian Police flew over specifically for the forum.
We are equally concerned and interested in public safety no matter where it is in the state.
Local government and support groups were also in attendance as they outlined how they're trying to curb youth violence. One program set to start up is Operation Flinders, a wilderness adventure program for young offenders.
It's a program which has received a lot of awards and a lot of plaudits, and whilst it may not work for everyone, I think the success rate that it does have is really exceptional. It's something that we should embrace as a community.
Police have crunched the latest figures of crime in Port Lincoln over the past 28 days, which shows 16 vehicles and 5 homes were broken into. Most of them were unlocked.
We are listening and that we are doing what we can to continue to keep our regional communities very safe.
Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
The case of accused murderer Jeffrey Adams has been adjourned. Mr. Adams appeared in the Adelaide Magistrates Court today by video link. His defence team asked for more time to review phone intercepts in order for them to answer the charges. He's charged with allegedly murdering his wife Colleen Adams 46 years ago. Mr. Adams was arrested after leading police to her remains in the backyard of the couple's former Maitland home. He'll next appear in court on January the 7th. A 30-year-old man from Adelaide has been arrested in relation to a shooting at Wanilla back in February. He's been charged with a raft of offences, including possession of an unlicensed firearm. The investigation follows on from an incident where a man was shot in the leg. He's been bailed to appear in the Port Lincoln Magistrates Court next month. Police have yet to locate the firearm used in the assault. Anyone with information is asked to contact Crime Stoppers. Port Pirie's mayor has condemned those responsible for vandalising graves at the local cemetery. Leon Stevens says he's working closely with families distraught by the ordeal.
Heartbroken families fed up with vandals targeting this sacred community space. They're now pleading for council to take action.
I'm absolutely furious with this, that we've got people within our community that find it within their own rights to go and damage people's property within a cemetery.
Locals have reported to authorities a list of damaged items, including parents who had items stolen from their daughter's grave. They were too fearful to appear on camera.
We've got distraught families that are coming and reporting out to us that they've had graves unsettled and things thrown about. And I've got to tell you, this is the lowest act I've ever seen.
Police are now amping up patrols in the area.
If you're convicted of a property damage or related offence, you will face serious penalties, and the community does not tolerate antisocial behaviour, neither does the police.
Police are encouraging the community to help stop the trail of destruction by reporting any suspicious activity in the area.
If you cannot stop it, just leave the community. We don't want you here.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Parents at 4 primary schools in the Spencer Gulf and Mid-North will be able to apply to keep their Year 7 kids at a primary campus. The South Australian Government is moving the grade into secondary school in 2022. Following consultation with staff and parents, students at Port Neal, Butte, Wilmington and Snowtown are eligible to apply for an exemption as part of a transition period. The facilities on the list are more than 20 kilometres away from the nearest West High School. For further information, head to the Education Department's website. Mental health remains a top issue for South Australian youth. Mission Australia have released their 2019 youth survey, with the environment another key concern.
Highlighting the high levels of concern, Mission Australia's youth survey report showing increases in stress within our youth. Local experts see the report as a means of improving resources in our cities.
The report is telling us that we need to put some resources into schools and doing some earlier intervention work in schools and looking at how we can best respond to incidents of bullying.
1 in 3 young South Australians say mental health is an important issue in society. However, there is support within Port Augusta.
There's an increase in awareness, and it's a real positive thing that young people are more willing to come in and seek help.
The report, an important piece to help understand the needs of our teens.
It's important because it actually gives a voice to young people to express their concerns, their aspirations, and the things which are influencing them.
Headspace Port Augusta making note the importance of finding help and the benefits of conversation.
It's a real positive thing that young people are more willing to come in and seek help. We've still got a long way to go, but I think it's a real positive.
If you or someone you know needs help, call Lifeline on 13 11 14. Laura Milovanovic, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Still to come tonight, Broken Hill's welcome signs back on the council agenda, and Port Perry's new croquet fields ready for play. Welcome back. Broken Hill's new gateway signage is once again in the spotlight. A motion to undo a decision made at a recent extraordinary council meeting 2 weeks ago will be voted on tomorrow night.
It's a topic that won't go away. Tomorrow night, a rescission motion will be tabled at the city's monthly council meeting. The city's new gateway signs the subject matter. The move comes despite a decision to proceed with the original designs at an extraordinary meeting held 2 weeks ago.
Council resolved at the extraordinary meeting that we would honour the competition, but we would also build one of our local signs that the community are very passionate about.
If successful, those resolutions would be dismissed, with the competition's original 73 entries to go back out on public display, with the community to vote on their preferred choice, the top 5 becoming the new welcome signs.
Give the councillors an opportunity to think about what they're doing, give them the opportunity to start from the beginning of the process.
While the motion at the extraordinary meeting was defeated 6-2, this one has support from 4 councillors, including Tom Kennedy. And he says those with a conflict of interest should abstain from voting.
And if those councillors do what's right, then the vote will be turned around. It will be a majority.
It's very complicated. I don't think legally you can put this motion up. The GM's ruling on it, so that will dominate.
Patrick Reinke, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Port Augusta residents are being asked to complete an SA Power Network survey regarding recent tree trimming. It follows a new approach taken by the company in recent years.
It's a much-needed service helping keep the power on and houses safe. Tree trimming occurs every 3 years in Port Augusta, with SA Power Networks hoping to gain insight into how it has affected residents.
We'd probably get a lot more fire starts from our electricity infrastructure, and that's obviously something we don't want to be happening in bushfire risk areas.
Port Augusta residents can now have their say. Working with local governments, the network has changed its approach when it comes to trimming.
The survey helps us get some feedback from people in Port Augusta and other areas of the state about how we're managing vegetation and cleaning up after ourselves and just generally doing the job.
Mr. Roberts says results are critical as Port Augusta has been a guinea pig for a new way of managing trees and branches.
Port Augusta is the first, in fact, regional township to be cut to a new risk-based approach within the town.
The work focusing on keeping our power on.
Trees are a major impact on reliability, and that's the other reason we trim them.
Anyone with issues or feedback over the service can fill out the survey online or receive a hard copy from the library. Laura Milovanovic, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Local Indigenous youth and leaders in Port Lincoln took part in an emotional wellbeing workshop today. The Deadly Thinking program confronts issues within the community.
A wellbeing workshop designed by and for Indigenous and Torres Strait Islanders.
We're covering topics that affect mental health problems, anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts, and many other issues.
Social workers and support staff from across the area taking part in the 3-day workshop.
Just here for the kids, so I'm here to support them in school and outside of school, so I run programs.
Alan Dodd is one of the latest members at West Coast Youth Services and helps run programs like cricket and football outside of school, helping keep children off the street and into a safe environment.
So at least I'm out there doing, and at least we know the kids are out and doing stuff instead of being in the community and being talked about.
Organisers say the workshops are set to help trainers like Alan deliver the programs in their community and workplace, helping reduce stigma and disconnection within the community.
I know it sounds crazy when we're increasingly connected via social media, but that's not always a positive thing.
And these kids are always asking me if you've seen the stuff on Facebook and that, and I just say that the brightest things in the future instead of Facebook, so just get out there and prove these people wrong.
If you or someone you know is struggling, contact Lifeline on 13 11 14. Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Port Perry's Croquet Club is hosting its first tournament on its newly renovated grounds. Players from as far away as Port Lincoln have travelled to the city for the competition.
Mallets are in full swing here at the Port Perry Croquet Club. Organisers from Adelaide travelling to supervise this event.
We're running the first inaugural regional golf croquet tournament. Port Perry was selected because they were keen to have us come up.
The tournament has been held at the perfect time, with members moving into new club grounds.
The new facilities are great. They were part of the new complex with the sporting. This was part of the bowling green, and then they've put our artificial lawns down in a new clubhouse.
Some competitors travelling up to 6 hours to be a part of the event. They say it wasn't one to miss.
Well, about 5 or 6 hours travel. We've made the most of it. We've been down the bottom of Marion Bay as well, have a bit of a look around while we're here.
Really great to get out, meet other people, find different areas, and this is a artificial court. We've never played on one before, so that's fantastic.
Organisers encouraging other residents from across the region to go check out their local club and maybe have a hit.
Because it keeps people out in the fresh air, active, connected to community, and a certain amount of exercise as well.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Some good shots there. Stay with us after the break. We take a look at the latest sports scores from across the region. And Britt will have the latest weather forecast. Hello again. Time now to take a look at all the sporting action from across the region. Here's Patrick with Sport Wrap.
It was a big weekend of local sport across the Spencer Gulf and here in Broken Hill as we head towards the Christmas break. Looking at basketball first, and we'll start with Port Pirie. The Ducks made it back-to-back wins, downing the Globetrotters by 21. Lachlan Nibbs continues his run of good games, scoring 26 points. He leads the competition in scoring. In the second game, Pacers dispatched the Tomcats. Over in Port Augusta, 30 points from Cameron Benbow saw the Eagles fly high against the Cobras. And Titans have closed the gap at the top of the ladder after beating Wildcats. 3 great games in Port Lincoln last night. The highly anticipated Rangers clash didn't disappoint, Rangers 2 winning in a nail-biter. Sharks are still undefeated, smashing Lincoln South's blue. Dannon Blacker scored 22 and Cody Rosalia drained 31. And Tyrone Kay led the Peckers to a solid victory. And in Whyalla, it was wins to Wildcats and Demons. Staying in Whyalla, and we're talking baseball now. The Indians proving too strong for the Tigers. Switching to softball, and Eagles batted in 20 22 runs in their win over a young Roadrunners side. It was a big week for Broken Hill tennis as the first round of finals was played. In very blustery conditions, top spins are through to next week's grand final, beating serves 3 sets 34 games to 3 sets 30 games. Set of the night was an epic doubles tiebreaker, Bregan So and Brady Warchup just managing to topple Andrew Malloy and Shane Keegle. In the elimination final, drop shots have kept their season alive, ousting the backhands by 7 games. Drop shots will now face serves in this week's prelim final. Thanks to those who sent in their results. We'll be back again next week.
And with the latest look at what's happening in the weather, here's Britt.
Good evening. It's been a mild but mostly fine day about the region. Broken Hill and Port Pirie both the tops of 24 degrees today. Port Augusta 23, Whyalla 21, Adelaide 20, Port Lincoln 17. From the satellite, scattered cloud over the Spencer Gulf under a low pressure trough. Moving along to tomorrow on the Gulf waters, winds southeast to southwesterly at up to 25 knots with seas around 2 metres. Sunrise just after 6 a.m. And it's looking to be a bright and sunny day. Port Augusta 33, Woodner, Corn and Port Pirie all with tops of 31 tomorrow. Whyalla 30, Broken Hill and Cleve 29, Kadina 28, Clare 27, Adelaide 25, Port Lincoln 22, Coffin Bay 21. Taking a look further through the week, partly cloudy conditions forecast at Port Lincoln on Thursday, rain on Friday with showers on Saturday. Cleve fine on Thursday, showers Friday looking fine on Saturday. Woodner looking fine and partly cloudy throughout the remainder of the week. Whyalla and Port Augusta both with a fine and partly cloudy forecast over the coming days. Kadina looking partly cloudy Thursday and Friday with showers expected on Saturday. Partly cloudy conditions into the weekend at Clare and Port Pirie, and finally to Broken Hill where it's looking to be sunny on Thursday, then fine and partly cloudy Friday and Saturday. And John, that brings me to the end of the forecast.
Thanks, Britt. And that's the local news this Tuesday evening. Thanks for joining us. I'll have some updates later, but until then, enjoy your evening here on 7. On behalf of the team, it's good night.